or baked goods. And so we got a lot of people together and we baked something like 20 dozen cookies that day that were all frozen and then donated to St. Bart's for their meal. And we had a lot of fun doing that. And then we had our choir, and with a couple of extra people, go out to 2 different nursing homes in Norwich and provide a concert. And the concert was just singing favorite old hymns. And this particular picture was taken at the Norwich Rehab Center on Calvary Drive. And it was so fulfilling to watch this, because some of the people sitting there in the wheelchairs would hear these hymns and something would be stirred in them and they would start singing along. And the choir really enjoyed doing that. This year they're going to be going to 2 different nursing homes and providing a concert for the people.
Good.
And then last May we went to Weiler Park in Norwich, and someone had arranged for us to go there and do a bunch of spring cleaning. Cleaning the garden areas, cleaning around the picnic areas. We also had a wiener roast that day, and anybody who stopped by was given some refreshments, a hot dog and something to drink. And we attracted a lot of people. People were coming by asking, this is neat, how do we get involved in this? So by being out there in the community, by wearing our shirts, and by not just doing the work, but also taking the time to stop and talk to people who stop by is really helping to create interest in this program. Now, we do this twice a year. In the spring, we do all kinds of different projects like you've seen, but in the fall, we focus on food collection. So in October of both 11 and 12, we went out and set up 8 different food collection sites around Norwich. Again, with a lot of advance notice. We tried to have an article in the newspaper. We put flyers up to let people know to look for us that day. And we set up outside of different stores so that as people were going to shop, the hope would be that they'd come out with a couple extra cans or boxes of food and drop them off. So this location was at outside the Save-A-Lot store in Norwich. And in the next slide, we were outside Walmart, and this proved to be the most popular site. They collected, I think, 3 shopping carts full of food at this site, which was terrific. And at the next slide, we were outside Price Chopper. It was a very cold day.
Now, what happens to the food?
It's all donated. We have 2 very active food pantries in Norwich. One is Our Daily Bread at the Emmanuel Episcopal Church, and the other one is Roots and Wings, which is run by Catholic Charities. And so all the food we collected that day, which I think was, if you see that brown bag in that in that slide there, we collected 80 bags full of food, and they were divided and donated to the 2 food pantries. In the next slide, you can see we were this is in East Park in downtown Norwich. The hope was that people would drive by and drop off food. This site didn't do quite as well. We did much better outside the stores. And then in the next slide, we did food collection in the other park outside the county courthouse. In the next slide, you'll see that the children were involved in that one. This was a project that the Sunday school children decided to take on. And they enjoyed being out there and being visible and talking with people who dropped by. They didn't collect a lot of food, but I think what they got out of it more than that was the fact that they were actually out there visible in the community doing this kind of work.
Okay.
And in this slide, one of the things that the Church Has Left the Building has spawned is other kinds of projects. We find that people are looking for other opportunities to serve. So this is the team that went to Sydney just a few days after the flood in 2011 to do some really heavy duty work. We took all these people, and only about half of those are members of our congregation. The other half are just people from the community who heard about that we were going to Sydney and wanted to join us. One young man in that photo came all the way from Lyle to join us to go to Sydney. We spent the day at Sydney doing some really heavy mucking out, but more importantly, we spent a lot of time just talking to people and listening to their stories and helping people express their grief and their anger. And it was a very memorable day for all of us. And then this was the Norwich Turkey Trot, which is the annual 5K run that's sponsored by the YMCA every year in November. We sit right next to the YMCA. We share a parking lot with them, so we're always looking for opportunities to partner with the YMCA to be in service to the community. So 2 years ago, we thought, well, why don't we provide bottled water to all the participants in the turkey trot? In the first year, there were about 400, 450 participants. Last year, there were over 800. So we provided 800 bottles of water, and we had people sitting there. We were also collecting food. We asked people when they registered for the turkey trot if they would also bring a can of food. And we were able to collect quite a bit of food. But more importantly, we showed the community that we care about the things that they are doing, such as this turkey trot. We have a very good working relationship with the YMCA, and we're always looking for more opportunities to support each other.
Okay, that's good. Now, I know we were talking a little bit beforehand that this, you're becoming like a missional church, and maybe you can kind of explain what you mean by that?
The idea of being a missional church is one of the latest things in church development and church growth projects, and it's something that we've been working very intentionally on doing. The missional church is contrasted with what they call the establishment church, which is what a lot of churches have been in, that mode, that establishment mode, for the last several decades, actually. And the difference is, in the establishment church, people tend to see the church as a private refuge or a personal sanctuary, a place where they go to develop their own individual spirituality, to develop their own personal faith journey. But in the missional church, we understand that the church is itself a community of faith, a people of God, and each time we gather together for worship or for service opportunities, we are being formed as a people, not as individuals, but as a people. And what we do as the community of faith is reveal God's love to our neighbors, not just tell other people about God's love, but actually to embody God's love in acts of service. Also, in the establishment church, people tend to see the clergy as the professionals who do all the work, and then the lay people are the consumers who come to enjoy the fruits of the clergy's labor. But in the missional church, it's very much a shared mission. The clergy and the lay people are all in this together, and they are in a program of mutual accountability to each other and to God, and a very much a shared ministry of service and outreach.
Okay. Now, we're into 2013. The church is going to be leaving the building again.
Yes, we are.
Are you planning to do anything differently?
We've got some exciting plans for May. We'll be leaving the building on Saturday, May 18th. And for the past, we've had 4 events now. In each event, we've had worship in the building, and then we've gone out and done our projects. We started thinking that maybe we shouldn't separate the worship from the work so much. Maybe we should start to understand that the worship and the work really go together. So this Saturday, May 18th, we will be having an outdoor worship service to which the entire community will be invited in East Park in downtown Norwich. We'll start at 9 a.m. with a very simple, very casual worship service that is designed to help us understand our identity as a missional people. And then we will go out and disperse and do our work projects. And again, we're inviting the entire community to join us for any or all of these work projects. We're going to have many of the same projects we've had before, but this year we're adding a couple of new ones that are exciting. We are now the proud owners or stewards of a community garden in Norwich. The Shenango County Cooperative Extension provides community garden plots for people in Norwich. And for a donation of $20 for the year, people can work these plots. We have a plot now off of Hale Street in Norwich, 20 by 20 plot. And on this day that we leave the building, we're going to have a team go out there and clean up the lot, weed it, straighten it up, and then start planning about how we're going to plant things, what we're going to plant, and all the produce that we reap from this hopefully very fruitful garden will be donated to the 2 food banks in town. So this is another ongoing project that will be kicked off on the Church Has Left the Building Day. And then we have a couple other projects that I can't really talk about in detail because they're not firmed up yet. I just do want to let you know that these projects are coming about as a result of our cooperation with community agencies, community service and government agencies. Okay. Norwich is a county seat, so there are a lot of organizations in town that provide services, but we're learning there are a lot of gaps. Okay. Because of budget restraints, because of lack of help or lack of staffing. Sometimes offices like the Office for the Aging or Opportunities for Shenango can't do the things, can't meet the needs right. that they're seeing. So this is a place where the church can step in. If these agencies can identify needs and identify clients that need the help, we can provide the manpower. Okay. So that's yet another thing that we're looking into as an ongoing okay. kind of project.
Okay, as we're kind of getting close to the end of our program, people in the Norwich area, if they want to become part of this, and they're not members of the Broad Street United Methodist Church, I'm assuming they call your church office? They
can call the church office. They can go to our website. There will be a lot of information about churches left the okay. building, including a way to register for any of the work sites. Okay. And the website is Broad Street, BROADSTUMC.com.
Okay. So you're always looking for more people to help out. Now, you'll have worship first in the park, then you're going to go out and do a variety of things. Now, if somebody has a work project that they would love to have somebody come, they would also contact the church, or is it pretty well set?
We're always looking for new ideas. Okay. For new things that we can do. Yes, they can contact the church with any ideas that they might have of things that we can do, okay. that we could send just a couple people or a large team of people out to be in the community working. Okay,
so really, I mean, I know there are a few other churches that have kind of embraced this concept, but it sounds like what is going on in Norwich has really just grown and has become a big part of your whole church, and you know, it's a great thing to see that a church is willing to actually get outside the doors, and especially this year you're going to do everything outside the doors, the worship and everything, and show the community that you're willing to, you're part of the community, you want to help the community, because I think that's very important. You're not just that building anymore.
One of the biggest problems we have at Broad Street United Methodist Church, we have a beautiful building. Yeah. But it's an intimidating building. It's a big brick castle, and we've heard people say it's a scary building. Okay. So we're trying to get people to stop thinking about the building as that brick structure and start thinking about the church as the people. Okay.
Well, Nancy, I appreciate you coming today and being on the show and telling everybody about this great program. And if you want to take part of it, contact the Broad Street United Methodist Church.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.